It's only through financial literacy that you can understand how these things work and use them in order to acquire wealth. Knowledge is more important than any other thing in this world. Being rich is the amount of money you can save at the end of the month, or how long can you stay without actually working. When you ask a question, you are actually putting your brain to work, and your brain is limitless because your mind is your only limit. You can never achieve something without planning for it. Impossible, except that somebody else will do it for you. Greetings, everyone. Today, I'm here to talk about a topic which is very important that can help every one of us. It is about education. When we talk about education, many people just think about the knowledge we get from school. And when we are done with education, when we are done learning from school, we stop learning because we think we don't need it anymore. But that is a fatal error. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about the different types of education, how we can actually get this different education in order to improve ourselves. So I'm going to talk about 3 types of education, which are not the only branches of education, but I'm just going to focus in 3 because I think that these 3 are the types of education we really need to acquire. Each and every one of us really need to acquire these 3 type of education in order to become wealthy, in order to become rich, in order to acquire wealth. Because I'm quite sure nobody wants to be poor. Nobody wants to remain poor. Everybody wants to become rich, but how? Many people want to become rich, but they are taking the wrong path to getting rich. So the 3 types of education I'm going to talk about are formal education, and the other one is financial literacy, and also mindset training. So formal education, financial literacy, and mindset training. So now, what is formal education? Formal education is the education we get when we go to school. Every one of us has gone to school. When we go to school, we learn formal education. We learn a profession, we learn a skill, we are specialized in a special domain. So when we finish learning in school, we have a skill. Now we are ready to start looking for jobs, because in school they teach us how to write a CV. They teach us how to become a good employer. They teach us how to pass interviews, how to work. They teach us about social life. So that this knowledge is very, very important, because it permits us to contribute in the society, no matter where we are. This formal education will permit us to contribute in a society, because each and every society needs doctors, they need engineers, they need mechanics, they need teachers, they need police. So all these skills, we get them through formal education. You see? So, but the mistake is, when we have gotten a profession, most of us remain with the profession for the rest of our lives. Why? When we work with this profession, we are actually making someone else rich. So when you have a profession, you are working, it is good, but it should not be the only education. It should not be the only skill you should acquire. In as much as it's going to help you, but there are other type of education you really need to get as well, because a profession will help you to get a job, but and that job is going to help you get a salary. But that salary is not going to set you free. When you have a salary, is good, because you can take care of yourself. You can become responsible. You can pay your bills. There are so many things you can sort out with the salary. But it doesn't end there. You need another education that is called financial literacy. So this is the second type of education I'm going to talk about. And financial literacy normally starts when you have graduated from school. And the mistake most people do when they finish the school, they say, okay, I'm done. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to revise. I don't need to open my books anymore. But that's a fatal error, because what you learn in school is formal education. Formal education will give us a job, but the job will give us a salary, and the salary will enslave us. What do I mean? Because once we have gotten formal education, we have a job, and the job gives us a salary, and what we do is we start spending. And how do we spend? Majority of people, mostly here in the Western world, they take a loan, buy a house, take a loan, buy a car, take a loan, furnish a house, then they have to work for 20 or 30 years in order to pay back all the mortgage of the house. In other words, you become a slave for this period of time. Until you finish paying all the loan, the property you bought does not belong to you. So you see how you have become a slave once you enter this trap. So what I'm saying here is, I'm not saying buying a house or buying cars or buying all these things are not they are not good. They are all good, but you should in any condition buy them on loan or with your salary. So this, what I'm telling you, you can get them through financial literacy. Financial literacy will teach you how to manage your budget. It will teach you what money is, because most of us have misconception about money. We think, I can say 99% of us think money is just a value for exchange, to buy and sell goods. But that is not all about. If you check on dictionaries or any definitions, that is what they will give us about money. That is all. But money is not all about exchange. So if we want to know more, if we believe that money is all about value, exchange in value or exchange in goods, we will remain poor for life, because money is not all about that. One attribute about money is money never get rest. Money is working 24 on 24, 7 days on 7. If you get a profession and you do not work to make yourself rich, you will spend your whole life working to make someone else rich. I repeat, if you do not work to make yourself rich, you spend your whole life working to make someone else rich. And you can get all this through financial literacy, because it will actually teach you how to make money work for you. It will teach you what money truly is, how to get wealth. It will teach you the difference between an asset and a liability. If you read Robert Kiyosaki's book, it gives you a very good definition and the difference between an asset and a liability. He make it very, very simple. An asset is what will put money into your pocket, but liability will remove money from your pocket. For example, if you buy, let me just say, you buy a house and you put it on rent, then you collect the rent to pay back the mortgage. You see, the rent is actually putting money, is the house is bringing money, the house is giving you money. So it is putting money into your pocket. So that is an asset. But another person who buys the same house and is staying into that house, so you are paying tax, yearly tax, you pay maintenance, you pay utility bills like electric bills, water bills, and so the house is actually taking money out of your pocket. So that is a liability. So you see, a property, the same thing, can be an asset for one person, but will be a liability for another person. So you need to get financial literacy in order to understand all these things, how they work. If not, we will keep buying liability thinking we are actually buying assets. So financial literacy will actually teach you about multiple sources of income. What is world? Financial literacy will teach you about world. What is world? Let me ask one question. If you stop working today, how long can you survive? How long can you survive if you stop working today? That is world. Because some people cannot even survive 1 month if they stop working today. Some people cannot survive 3 months, 4 months. But thanks to financial literacy, it will you will learn how to actually even survive for eternity without even having to work. That is when you have gotten your what we call financial liberty. Financial liberty is when you don't need to work in order to get money. You don't even need to work in order to get money. In other words, you have multiple sources of income. When you have multiple sources of income, if one source of income stop, you don't even need to worry, because you have multiple sources of income. You see? So it's only through financial literacy that you can understand how these things work and use them in order to acquire wealth. In order to, you can use them to buy more assets instead of buying liabilities. So the knowledge you get in school, it will teach you a profession. When you start working, it will give you a salary. Use that salary to educate yourself. Buy knowledge that will teach you financial literacy. And then you start investing. You start multiplying your sources of income. In other words, instead of buying liabilities, let me just say buying expensive cars, buying a good house, furnishing the house with your money or with a loan, instead invest first. Multiply your sources of income. Once you have invested and your investment has matured, start bringing you dividends, profit, you can now use that profit to buy that same all those same properties. Because when you are so doing, you are not buying it with your money. You are buying it with different people's money, or you are buying it with money that another money has worked for you. And the advantage of that is when you buy something with your money, that money lost value because what you are buying, the things you are buying, if it is losing value, your money is actually losing value. But if you buy something with a profit from your investment, the advantage of that is you don't actually feel the expenses because you buy it with the profit. The profit will keep coming every month. So in other words, it's like you're actually getting the property free. You have to buy a BMW. You don't even need to go to the bank. You buy it with your dividend, or you buy it with the profit you make from your investment. You just move 40,000 euros and buy it, know that another one is coming. You don't even care about that. So that is why you really need financial literacy. And the good thing about it is everybody can do it. Everybody, no matter where you are. No matter where you are. Knowledge is more important than any other thing in this world. That is the most powerful weapon each and everybody have. So it is only to know how to use it. But the funniest thing is we are not actually tapping into our knowledge. So that's it about financial literacy. Now I'm going to talk about something very powerful. The third type of education I want to talk about, it is mindset training. Mindset training. I can even say this is the most important about all the first two types of education that I named. Mindset training. Why do I say it is the most important? Because even if you have all the money, if you have even all the knowledge, but if you don't have the right mindset, you are going to useless all the money. You are going to useless the knowledge. We have a good skilled engineers, doctors, PhD holders. They have all the knowledge. But why are they broke? When I say broke, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't have money. They make good money. But if you see their expenses, at the end of the month, what is left is not even enough to, I don't know, for them to pay themselves some vacations, or if they stop their work today, they may not be able to survive for even 1 year or 6 months. Being rich is not having too much money into your bank account. Being rich is just being rich is the amount of money you can save at the end of the month, or how long can you stay without actually working. If you stop work today, how long can you stay? So now, if you don't have the good mindset, how can you actually acquire wealth? It is not possible, because the good mindset is what will guide you through the path to acquiring wealth.